Hey, this is Dan from Primal RC. I just wanted to introduce the 1/5 scale monster truck. It's gas powered, and obviously it's humongous. I just wanted to show you a comparison with a 10th scale so you could get an idea of how big it is. This is the legendary Tamiya Cloudbuster. It's kind of started it all for me. This is a solid axle monster truck. This is what they really look like. So I want to try to make a big version of this, but in gas powered. So I hope you like it. I wanted to show you some of the features of this monster truck that pretty much make it a little unique compared to any other 5th scale gas powered monster trucks out there right now. Basically, this is 4-wheel drive and it's a solid axle monster truck. So what you see out there now in the market is mostly independent suspension monster trucks. You know, they're great, don't get me wrong. They go real fast, they handle good, and do all that good stuff, and they take a beating. But they don't really perform like a real monster truck. Real monster trucks are solid axle, and they perform and hit jumps differently and crawl over stuff differently. So I wanted to make that in a gas-powered vehicle. So it did come out a little bit bigger than I anticipated. I really want to keep a 5th scale, and if you do the math, this really is a 5th scale monster truck. But it's more, if you in the RC world, it'd be more considered a 1/4 scale monster truck. As you can see, it's pretty big. There's my hand right there. Another thing I wanted to show you was the double chain drive transfer case here. Underneath this panel, if you take it off, there's 2 chains connected together with a big gear down here, small gear here, and that gives the drive to the transmission on the bottom. So that goes from basically your clutch bell all the way down to the transmission. The chain drive system here was just 2 bolts I just took out, and then this cover here comes right off. There you go. It's all nice and greased up in there. Big, thick, double roller chain. Basically from the big clutch bell back there, comes down to the transmission. And you can see a nice cylinder head, air cooled. On the other side's this big pull start with a big flywheel that forces air to go over that cylinder head while it's idling, running. So you could just sit there and idle all day long. It's gonna stay cool. You don't have to keep it moving like a little nitro engine car. It relies on moving to get cooling air. This is gonna blow cooling air over it all the time, just when it's idle. I also want to show you the engine as much as possible here. It's a 49cc 2-stroke reed valve engine, so it also has some upgrades done to it, so it puts out some good horsepower, at least 6 horsepower, maybe more, and a lot of good low end torque because it is a reed valve. It gives you a good low end torque, so it has the power to move this thing pretty good. And also there's all different gear ratios, obviously, so between the torque and the lower gear ratios, you can make it a crawler, or gear it fast and it'll move pretty good. Hit some good jumps, have a lot of fun with it. So it has a nice real big clutch, which this thing really needs. Those little clutches that are in normal 5th scales would never hold up to all this weight and big tires and everything. So this one is great. And this is just, the engine is reasonably priced. If it ever does go bad, you could just pop a new one on, but it's actually a well-built engine. Puts out a lot of low-end torque, perfect for a monster truck. It's obviously a full-start engine. A couple pulls. There's a manual choke on the carburetor down there. And we also tried to mount the engine as low as possible in here to give it the best handling. So it's sitting pretty low in the chassis, and the chassis is also set up very wide. The stance, like I said, is 32 inches long, and all the weight's in the axles. So it actually handles very good. It doesn't tip over that easy. I just wanted to show you the suspension here. It's obviously a 4-link coil-over shock suspension system, with the sway bar. We did put 2 mounts on the bottom here for the shock, so it's going to give you more choices. You could put it here, you could mount the top at a different spot, raising the suspension, lowering the suspension. You could set it up so this is way down here, and these bars are straight across for better handling, or you could lift it way up high. You know, put the springs, put the shocks at a different location here, and you could set it up like a really tall monster truck, give it more of a center ground clearance. Of course, all these hem joints are adjustable, so as you do that, you could adjust the pinion angle here. So the further it goes down, the more you could tilt this back up. And then if you want to lower the whole suspension down, you could put this together to tilt it back and match your driveline angle as good as possible. Like that, it's pretty matched up nice there, you know. So there's a lot of tuning possibilities to get your suspension just the way you want it, depending on what you want to do. Of course, these two shock mounts in the back could also be used for dual shocks. So there's plenty of room if you do want to put another shock right next to it and have a really cool looking dual shock setup. You could do that too. Yeah, I mean, we tried to keep everything really nice and big and heavy duty. I mean, look at the size of that rear diff, the casing. I can barely get my hand around it. Drive shafts, and these are all modular designs. So this part right here mounts onto here. This tube mounts to here. And these are two pieces, left and right. And the same thing here. So if you somehow jumped it really high and somehow bent one of these pieces, just this end piece, you could just change that end piece. No need to buy a whole new axle. That could cost a lot of money. So we tried to make it user-friendly, cost-friendly to repair. And of course, everything's as heavy-duty as it could get pretty much right off the bat. I mean, we didn't skimp here. You know, we used steel hem joints on all the linkages. As you can see, you know, even on all the steering linkages. I mean, we tried not to make it too heavy, but it just, every time we wanted to do something, you know, if I used plastic ends there, they would just stretch out real fast, you know, and no good. So, you know, we didn't skimp. We didn't really leave that much room for needed upgrades. Everything's pretty much upgraded already. Here's another quick look at the front axle, just to show you guys. Nice big hardened steel shaft axles in there. Even this end, this 24mm hex, is not just a standard aluminum. It's made of steel. The threads are steel here and everything, so it's not going to strip out. Nice and strong. Obviously a big strong steering knuckle. A nice thick aluminum. And obviously nice big, real big, strong, thick, very thick aluminum skid plate in front to protect all that steering. Front and rear axles are both basically the same in design. Obviously the very ends where the steering would be is changed in the back, so you have no steering. But you could easily change this component and all the steering knuckles to the front and put on all the steering system that the front has and convert it to four-wheel steering. So we did make the rear axle a modular design, so you could do that. It's actually a really fun truck to work on, to take apart. All the bolts are nice and big. They come apart, you know, everything's nice and greased up. There's an oil-filled, a CNC cased oil-filled differential inside here. When you take it all apart, you feel like you're working on a real car. The axle tubes are all steel, you know, these are all aluminum, real thick aluminum, but inside is a steel, really thick, heavy-duty steel drive shaft. Really nice build, just like a real mini monster truck. You know, it's all just scaled down from a big one, basically. I'll show you the tires here. They are about 12 inches tall by about 7.5 inches wide. They do have a big foam insert inside, so they give a nice, real nice feel, like they're filled with air, but they're not. It's just a big foam insert in there. So when you do come crashing down from bumps and jumps, this absorbs a lot of the impact because it's so fat between here. It's such a high profile tire that it absorbs a lot of the impact. It helps not break stuff. It's also a really nice designed heavy duty plastic wheel with tons of gusseted inserts here in the front of the wheel and in the back. And this all goes down to a 24mm hex. So, you know, that will fit onto other vehicles if you dare try to put it on. It actually will bolt onto a Baja or even the low Cs and stuff like that, especially if you put wheel extenders on. But it would look pretty ridiculous on any vehicle like that. And your vehicle's transmission and engine might not even be able to turn them that well. And your steering, forget it. I would have a really hard time also, but if you dare, you could put them on other fifth scale vehicles. It'd be really interesting to see what people do. Another nice feature, of course, the bead lock, front and rear. So it's the same bead lock on the front and the rear. So if you ever have to change the wheel, you just unscrew these screws. That's it, pop on a new tire. But these tires are built to last a long time. Plenty of tread. They're not going to wear out anytime soon, so should be good for a while. Here's another shot of the inside of the tire. You have your steel 24mm hex insert, all your strong plastic tested and ready from the inside. And by the way, here's a lug wrench that's actually going to come with like a real automotive car, because that nut in there is pretty far in. You don't want to try to do that with a little by hand, little tool. It's a nice big wrench like that. I also wanted to show you the reverse mechanism. If I could get the camera in here. There's a cable. There's a servo over here that runs into a cable that goes all the way over here into the transmission that pulls the gear back and forth. So basically all you got to do is come to a complete stop first. You don't want to try to do that while you're driving. It won't move anyway, it won't go in when you're driving. But come to a complete stop, hit a button, boom, you're in reverse. Do what you gotta do, stop again, hit the button again, go forward. So you won't get stuck anywhere. Here's the radio it's gonna come with it. It's a FlySky GT5, a 2.4 obviously radio. It's a 6-channel, so it's gonna even give you, it's gonna have a remote kill switch built into this truck. So anytime you wanna hit the button, you just hit a button on here, you could kill the engine. And then of course reverse is gonna be on here. That could be another one of these switches right here. And there's also another 2 switches if you ever want to put other accessories right here. It's a really nice radio, fits really nice in your hand. Looks really cool, has a good feel to it. That's what it's gonna come with. Some parts for size comparison. Here's a pinion gear from like a Losi 5T. It's the pinion gear for the Mazda truck. You can see the size difference right there. Nice and big and heavy duty. Here's like a drive shaft from like a Losi or even like a Baja type of vehicle. It's about this size. Here you go. Here's the difference. This is it's a whole different type of vehicle. Much more bigger, much more heavy duty. There's the axle, the front CVD type of thing. And of course the shocks. This is a Baja shock. It's the Mazda truck shock. It's a lot longer. It's just to give you an idea of the size of the components. Basically the drive shaft here. It's kind of like the size of a Baja shock. I also want to show you the size of the clutch that this is going to come with. This is your standard clutch that comes on most 5th scale gas-powered cars. Most of the time it does the job pretty good, but on something big and heavy you want a bigger clutch. So this is the setup. Similar to this, it might look different than this clutch in the actual production one, but that's the size difference for you. What you see, this is the final prototype you're looking at. This isn't the actual one that's going to be in production. The one in production is actually going to look even nicer. It's going to have some bits and pieces of red aluminum, like some of the shocks, maybe this frame plate, transmission piece. Some piece is going to be red, so make it really pop. This air filter might be different, some minor things like that. But otherwise, what you see is what you get. And like I said, the one in production might even look even nicer than this. Everything's going to be like, there's not going to be anything that you see aluminum here that's going to be plastic on the production one. Nothing like that. What you see is what you get. I just wanted to show you what it looks like with the body off. I can't show you too much detail inside stuff because it's not going to be the exact quite the same electronically as the production one. But I want to show you the body. It's obviously a Raminator monster truck. We tried to make it look as much like the real Raminator as possible. It is a 2-piece body, so the whole cab is one big piece, and then the whole bed, there is a seam here underneath that sticker, is one piece. So if you ever do, for some reason, damage or rip off the whole bed, you could just buy that one piece. Or the cab, damage the cab enough, you could just buy the cab. And obviously it all just bolts on with these little screws all over the place. Screw goes right onto the front. It's a really nicely done, highly detailed, and pretty strong body so far. It all mounts to a nice heavy-duty plastic roll cage, which just comes off with just some simple pins. 4 in the back, 4 more on the sides, 2 more under here, and then this whole body with the panels are going to come right off in one shot, so it's going to make it real easy to get in there to work on the engine. And there you can see the giant tune pipe it comes with. A nice big high capacity gas tank. Really goes for a long time, maybe even an hour and a half easily with runtime. There's a little detailed driver figure in there. Nice plastic tubular frame. Roll cage. Has a nice big bumper area in the back. If you ever do damage a piece back here, you could just change plastic pieces. Protects the aluminum frame, which is made of 6 plates. All 4 of these back plates are the same, and then there's 2 center plates. I'll show you a detail the frame. So let's say for some reason you bent one of these frame plates, you just change this one frame plate. No, you don't have to change this whole giant thing. So it makes it, again, cheap to work on, easy to fix. It's a nice big gas tank. Engine, pipe, full start. And there you have it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and here's a couple little videos of it in action.